Hi, everybody, and happy February 18th, 2026. Y'all, we are halfway through this month. I'm your girl, Sonja. Welcome to Prim and Proper Sports. I'm just trying to take care of some administrative things here. What's up to Let's Talk Sports Network? Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. First comment of the day. You guys must know I have a special guest on tonight. Give me one moment. Let me, we had like a little error message here. I don't know, it's always one of those things you just be like, really? Right when we get live? Anyway, I have a special guest on tonight, and he's been on with me before. You guys will recognize him from the network. We met on Northeast Streaming Sports, then Northeast Professional Sports. Then we're now the McGrath Sports Network, in honor of our great producer, John McGrath. And so I have him here. It took me a couple of weeks to nail him down, y'all, because he's still in celebratory mode, as he should be. None other than my great co-host and the host of Football Talk with Bo. A whole bunch of shows he got going on. He does the Kraken reporting. He does a bunch of stuff on site out on the West Coast. I'm very grateful for his time on tonight, especially with the time difference. None other than my friend and co-colleague, Mr. Bo Crouch. Bo, welcome and thank you so much for joining us again at Prim and Proper Sports. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. Always fun hanging out with you.
Yeah, always a great time. So tell the audience who has not known you before what you do and all that good stuff. I know it, but I like for people to, self-plug whenever they can. And by the way, love the new backdrop.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I mean, for those of you that don't know me, I'm a credentialed media member. So I cover the NHL, WNBA, Major League Rugby, Arena Football, Senior Bowl, all of that stuff. So do all of that. And then, my history with sports is I played professionally in the Arena Football League. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. But for the most part, I just talk about sports now.
Absolutely. And I know that gives you a different perspective when you have the opportunity to have been a player, now to see the players. It adds a whole new meaning for yelling at your team. Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, world champions, Super Bowl 60, the rematch that everyone was waiting on from Super Bowl 49. And this defense, this offense, the entire side, it's very difficult to beat a team that was so well equipped on both sides of the ball, Bo. I mean, I literally thought the score may be a little bit worse than what it was. Congratulations to the Patriots for hanging in there as much as they could with a rookie quarterback, a still rookie quarterback. Congratulations as a former Panther to Sam Darnold. Way to come back. If they had a comeback player of the year, it had to go to Sam Darnold. It's so difficult, Bo, to see a quarterback assume the role of a backup quarterback and then to come back at the forefront, unless you're Joe Flacco and you're just trying to save face because somebody's out and they call you from home. But nonetheless, to go all the way to the Super Bowl, you all remain number one in the league the entire season, number one NFC team the entire season, even after a rough 4-game loss. It was just like a 180, literally. How was it to just watch the maturation of that team and see the cohesiveness with Darnold at the helm, see Cabaret and all those great guys out there?
Yeah, I mean, it was such an impressive run, and it was one that was kind of under the radar a little bit, right? I mean, all the talking heads were still talking about the Rams being better, the Niners potentially being better. But then when you watched the numbers, you're like, oh no, this team isn't messing around. I mean, they had the number one scoring defense in the league, and then quietly had the third most explosive offense in the league. And that was something that nobody was talking about. And, when it got to the Super Bowl, I really thought that whoever won the NFC side was going to win the Super Bowl, because whether it was the Rams, the Seahawks, even the Niners, if they would have found a way there, I just didn't see any competition on the AFC side that was going to be able to
Mm-hmm.
handle those. The AFC side kind of tended to be one-sided, right? When you looked at the Broncos, they were a good defense, but the offense didn't really start playing football till the fourth quarter. The
Mm-hmm.
Patriots was a really inconsistent offense against some of the better teams, but you didn't know how tested they were. There was only 3 coaches they faced this year that didn't get fired in their entire
That's
schedule.
wild.
Like
That
insane.
was wild.
CJ Stroud
Allison.
the whole time, great defense for the Texans, but they were falling apart. So when you looked at how well-rounded the 3 teams from the West were, I didn't see anybody on the AFC side that was really going to stack up to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a tale of 2 seasons, honestly, for the Patriots. We saw them looking really well, but then people were breaking down who had they played. Who had they played during the season? They played the entire NFC South, and then they played their own division. So that's 8 games right there. Well, 8, and then another, 3 games? So sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's the majority of their season right there. And they won all of those games, if I'm not mistaken. Not that much competition at all. Pink Fanfur, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Always a real creator out there. Pink, please share this on the Pantherettes platform. We're having some connection issues that everyone can see me side-eyeing. It's because I'm like, what's going on with Facebook? They're not letting us trend tonight for some reason. So anyway, Bo, I mean, such an amazing time, and just to know that that you guys got what it takes. You got the magic, as they say. To witness that, and you had an opportunity to kind of look at the stats. You're a stats person. How different is it that we see Sam Darnold performance-wise this season as opposed to the last couple of seasons?
I mean, he looked very similar to what we saw with the Vikings. He was every bit that guy. And then when you saw him kind of fall apart at the end, the biggest reason for that was that offensive line got hurt. So you started seeing him getting an amazing amount of pressure, and you saw that pressure getting to him during the Super Bowl. Kudos to the Patriots, because if they weren't back there, that score would have been far more lopsided, because he just barely missed JSN, who was wide open, but he escaped a tackle and then got hit right as he threw that one that ended up sailing 5 yards over his head. But that would have been a walk-in touchdown for JSN. And then, they also got lucky on a Kenneth Walker penalty where he ran it, 50 yards to get in the end zone. And that one gets called back. I mean, that's 2 more potential touchdowns in this game. So, I mean, this game could have got out of hand in a score that was already pretty lopsided.
Shout out to Christian. He was the real difference maker from that Patriots defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gonzo, he did work. And it was funny because going into that, I thought that he and a safety were going to bracket JSN and kind of take him out of the game, right? And they did that. The part of this game that I didn't see coming was Kenneth Walker getting the MVP. I didn't think he was going to have the day that he had, because the Patriots defense against the run had actually been really good during the season. And so I was surprised to see him go off for over 100 yards.
Yeah, congratulations to him. It was really it was disappointing to see Cabaret not out there, because he has been stellar throughout the season. Of course, we know that you guys had played 23, 24 games by the time the Super Bowl rolled around. Everyone's hurt this time of season, things like that. But just to think, DK Metcalf is somewhere kicking himself, surely, just like the Vikings are. To see him back, what is the projection of him coming back as a healthy version of himself next season?
Charbonnet?
Chardonnay. What I say, Cabernet? I'm thinking about a wine. My bad.
So he'll be good. I mean, obviously, it was his ACL tear, so he's not going to be available until probably at least halfway through the season. So they do have some decisions to make. Kenneth Walker is going to be a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
They Seattle doesn't have a history of overpaying running backs, so I will not be surprised if Kenneth Walker's on a different team next year,
Oh
and
my gosh.
someone's going to pay him a lot of money. He's going to make 10 to 12 million a year because he had one of his best years since he got in the league and won the Super Bowl MVP. Someone's going to throw some money at him. Seattle's probably not that team.
But see, that's just it, Bo. I mean, we see this with teams that win. We see it in all sports, honestly. We see it with the Braves won the World Series. Okay, let's decimate the team. We saw it when the Panthers just went to the Super Bowl 10 years ago. Okay, let's implode the team. Why not come up with this money? I mean, he's clearly earned it, not just having a stellar day, but freaking MVP and definitely a leader throughout the entire time of the dance show that Seattle put on. What's up to you, J.I.? Thank you so much for joining us both, guys. It's Bo. I mean, and hello to Candy Castellan. Hello, Candy. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I mean, why not pay him? What is the salary cap was just raised, Bo? The salary cap was just raised for all teams. Are you telling me that Seattle does not have the money in place after going to the freaking Super Bowl to pay Kenneth Walker?
They have the cap space, but that doesn't matter. So Seattle historically just doesn't pay running backs. I mean, they drafted Kenneth Walker in the second round and still drafted Charbonnet the next year in the second round.
Yeah.
So this is a team that has a history of just trying to get that next guy. Walker has mostly been injured throughout his career. He's gotten hurt just about every single year. And Seattle also has a history that is a little bit rough when it comes to the running back, where they haven't had a starting running back not land on IR until this year since 2014.
Whoa, I wasn't aware of that.
So it's hard to want to pay a guy that has an injury history, and for a team that can't keep a guy healthy, it's hard to want to pay a guy $10 to $12 million a year that you may not have all year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do expect them to let him go to another team, get paid somewhere else. Charbonnet comes back halfway through. Halani looked pretty good in the touches that he had. And then, you go and draft a guy in the second or third round again, because although they only have 4 picks, they don't have an insane amount of needs on this team. And they do have the 5th or 6th highest cap space. So they could go get a couple of free agents or maybe trade out of the 32nd pick in the first round and get a couple extra picks. But they can probably grab another running back that'll work and avoid overpaying for a guy that may or may not stay healthy.
That's just the thing. The running back shelf life is very short, no matter what team you play for. And it's definitely short if you play for a team that is heavy run oriented, which most teams that use their running backs like that, especially when you got 2 of them. Seen it in Carolina right now. We're not sure of the situation with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. Chuba looked like he was going to be the one to go out the door. Then Rico, they looked like they were playing nicely in the sandbox. The next thing you know, Rico's like, hey, I want to be one and I want to be the only one. I'm not playing fair anymore. Like, and after he got all his touches and his contract and everything, it's just like, wow. Thank you so much, Pink, for that. It's just like, wow. And I mean, I just hate, well, let's back up. If we've already basically concluded that he will be traded, what difference would that make for the Seattle offense coming into next season? Will it be a game changer, or you guys are just like you said, you go ahead and grab somebody else, acclimate them? You already got a part-time too anyway to kind of move up to that position.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, no matter who you go get isn't going to be the battle-tested guy that you've had for the last 4 years, right? So, I mean, will there be a step back? Maybe. Tough to say, right? I mean, depends on who you go get. So, plus, I mean, you could even go get a veteran if you're just looking for a guy that's going to split snaps, because you're going to have guys like Breece Hall that are available. And so, I mean, you could keep Walker for 10 to 12, or you could go get Breece for maybe 5. And, So it's tough to say exactly what it is they're going to do here. They are limited on draft picks. They only have the 4. So, I mean, they do have to be smart with the way they go about things. This is not the worst time that they've had. Back in 21, they only had 3 draft picks, and they bombed all 3 of them. So, you never know how the draft's going to work out.
Yeah, you really don't. And to be fair, it's literally a gamble. I mean, DraftKings and all these people tell us to gamble responsibly. Teams, we need you to gamble responsibly. We need you to gamble because we as fans need dedicated players, to decide what we're going to do. You brought up the 49ers a little bit ago. We know, congratulations for tossing the Rams up out of the playoffs as well. That was my one. Every team that I don't really root a whole lot for gets a one full support ride for me, and that was the game for you guys. And of course, Sam is with a former Panther, but Drake May is from Carolina. I didn't know who to pull for. I was like, I don't have a dog or a cat, if you're a Panthers fan, no pun intended, in the fight. But I mean, the Rams, the 49ers, you guys, and who am I missing?
What, the Cardinals?
Oh, the Cardinals. That's why I had to ask you, who am I missing? They were the only team that got thank you so much, Jay. All right. Bo is frugal. Yes, I know. Don't let it fool you. Thank you for his donation to that other team. Yes. And I knew you guys would love when I said that. Who is that? The Cardinals. Yes. I mean, they were just not where you wanted them to be. Thank you for that donation too, Jay, for Bo here. They were just not where, they were not on the level of the NFC West. Everyone knew. I mean, I almost, my stomach is burning to say this, Bo. The NFC West was the best. I mean, the stats don't lie. They were the best division as a whole, collectively, and but the Cardinals just were not on the same level. It was like the Cardinals and then the rest of the West.
You know that meme that's got the 3 or 4 dragon heads where 3 of them look really mean, and then there's that one like goofy one that it's not quite right. That's the Cardinals. Like,
oh my gosh, I so believe that. So going into the next season.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Bo. I'm sorry.
Oh no, there's a little bit of delay. Sorry.
Oh, do I need to hop on my other device? Am I good?
It's like a half a second is all. It's not.
Okay. All right. Let's make sure. Let me turn my Wi-Fi off and everything. You know what? These Wi-Fi and all that companies just nothing but money makers. I literally recently upgraded to the highest Wi-Fi U-verse you can have, and I did really well last week. I guess maybe it was because I was by myself. Now that I have a guest, it's freezing up again. So now I'm like, okay, maybe it wasn't that. But anyway. So going into the new season, what do you expect this to be a repeat situation? Especially, like, first of all, how quick do you think Kenneth Walker will be removed from your team?
Free agency, even though it doesn't technically start yet, there's going to be some conversations because he's going to be a free agent. So as soon as the league year ends, which I think is this week or next week, teams will start being able to kind of reach out, test the waters. And I mean, that being said, I fully expect them to somebody to come and snag him. So yeah, he's going to be gone. Tariq Woolen's going to be gone, our other corner. In fact, yesterday was probably the most telling example that he's going to be gone is he put up the final scene from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, wow.
So that lets you know that those negotiations did not go particularly well.
Oh, wow. That is crazy. Hi, Feather Freebird. Always good to have you on. And thank you for the birthday wish. It was 14 days ago, but my nice production team knows that I believe in celebrating people the whole month, so they're celebrating me. So thank you so much for that. And believe it or not, I'm still actually getting cards in the mail. So from
Oh,
actual
nice.
friends and family. So it is the whole month. So just, every day is grateful. So thank you so much for always joining us. Though I always look forward to her coming on when you're here, Bo.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, all right. So he's probably going to be gone,
Yep.
and I feel like to me as a non-Seattle fan that will be a difference maker. You're saying maybe not that much?
Well, I mean, during the season, now obviously having Charbonnet hurt is a problem, right? So not having either one of them is definitely going to be an issue. Again, depending on who they go and draft, or if they get somebody in free agency, obviously you can kind of fix some of that. But I mean, it'll be a step back for sure. But as far as, like a repeat or anything like that, this division is still going to be exceedingly tough. So I would expect that all three teams in this division probably win a game or two less than they did this last year.
Oh, wow.
But that still places them all as double-digit winners. So
Yeah.
I would not be shocked if the West sends 3 to the playoffs again.
Jeez. I pray not. I'm sorry, Bo. I just can someone else you know what? That is really I don't know. I was looking at the stats on that. You probably know better than me. Is this the first time the entire division, like all three teams, were literally the top contenders? I was looking. I did not see where we actually had that ever happen before. Not three, and not with that record.
I can't recall a time where 3 of the final 4 teams were from one division. I don't remember seeing a time that's been the case. So no, that is kind of unprecedented. Or if it has happened before, it's probably like once, because I can't think of scenarios where like having 2 in there has happened a ton of times, but having 3, that's pretty rare. We don't have to worry about sending 4 though, because the Cardinals, based on their coaching hires, aren't even trying this year. So
I don't even know. I don't even know who that dude is. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, who? What?
Oh, so LaFleur is the Green Bay's coach brother.
So wait, as in Matt LaFleur's brother?
Yeah. So he's going to be their coach, but their offensive coordinator, they went and got Nathaniel Hackett for I have no idea why, but he hasn't been good anywhere. So based on that, I'm pretty sure they're not really trying to do a whole lot this year.
He's doing a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Not a heck of a job when he comes on. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Jay. I lost my comment. I'm missing my comments over here. Thank you, J.I. And Feather Freebird says good evening again. Thank you so much to her. I mean, I don't know. Okay, so we're talking about your team, but I'm not talking about some other teams too, including my own. It's just fair. I will say before we get there, because I will congratulate you. You and I are in a group chat, and it's been a lot of fun. There were some days I was like, I'm not going to even respond because I am literally upset about my team, and his team is winning. But it was so much fun this season, Bo. I was like, yeah, Bo, I don't remember you being this vocal last year in the chat. You were like, oh, I was. I'm like, well, I didn't see it, not for my team.
For me, I return energy, right? So if people are posting stuff, I'll post back. If people aren't saying anything, I just leave it alone. But if people are posting stuff, I'm like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, it was so funny because it was like, I'm just trying to celebrate the fact that we are relevant for the first time in 8 to 10 years, 2017, 2015, depends on how you look at it. And I would put like a little stat up, and I'm just like, look, guys, like we're doing it. And Bo comes with this meme that's just the total opposite. Like, oh, here's your championship trophy now for finally winning 3 games in a row.
Come on,
I'm like, whoa.
I made that specifically for you.
I know you did, because I was like, this is a Bo creation. So you guys, we always have a lot of fun. And you know, they have a slogan that says football is family. It really is.
Yeah.
Would not be here continuously where I am. I would not have met Bo if it wasn't for Mac.
Yep.
Shout out to Miss Linda. I'm always so grateful. I think about them several times a week because every time I get ready to sit down and do a show, I'm always like, you know, they sought me out. They had Bo, and because of that, I've met so many great people that are super talented. And Bo has the most amazing show. I mean, Bo, sometimes you do so many shows. I'm like, when do you have time to do anything else? Just working for the Kraken out there, and you guys just had the Super Bowl party. How was that? I saw like some footage of you at Lumen Field. You were there before the crowd got there. How exciting was that? I mean, it probably sounds corny, but I really want to know how it was.
No, like it was awesome. So there was about 1 million people down in Seattle for the parade, and before the parade took off, so where you saw that video inside of Lumen Field, that was the trophy presentation, and there was, on top of the 1 million people outside, there was a little over 40,000 in the stadium. So pretty electric atmosphere. And yeah, so I mean, it was a blast. Anytime you can get a championship parade is amazing, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but I'm just saying, yeah. Well, the Braves had one. I've experienced that here in Atlanta with the World Series, but for an NFL, I wouldn't know. And at this point, now past the half a century mark, I'm praying I can see one before my days have ended. And I plan on being here a long time, but I don't know. But that is super exciting though, Bo. And I had opportunity to just fly over Lumen Field last year. I'm still planning on, because I have a passion for football. My goal is to get to every stadium, and I'm only a third of the way there. So I got to get to Seattle. I probably will choose when we're not playing, you guys, just so that I don't have to be upset. I can go and just enjoy and just leave happy no matter what. If I go when we play you guys, it's just like, you just never know. Like, I'll be like, Bo, have your bond money already ready, because I'm showing out at this game. Like, I guarantee you, it's funny, but every time people go to games with me and they don't really know me, they be like, oh my God, like, I cannot believe you really. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not exaggerating. Like, the chat is a very dulled down version of the real me at a game. So it was funny because I'm really bad with divisional rivalries, especially the Falcons, because I live here. And one year I was leaving the game, well, arriving at the game, correction, and one of my church members was there. I saw one going in and one coming out. The one coming out was one of our elders, and he was like, oh, next year we'll have to, get seats together. I was like, oh, no, you don't want to sit with me at a game. And he was like, oh, no. I said, no, I say things that are definitely not spiritual. He's like, oh, Janie, his wife, gets a little excited too. I said, no, this is totally different. You'll probably be revoking my membership. Like, I am horrible. Like, people threaten to call the number on me.
I figured he was sitting close, and as he was leaving, he was like, you need Jesus. Like,
you need Jesus, and you up there singing on Sunday? That is not who I saw in the stands, ma'am, at all. But yeah, it's super fun. So moving on just a little bit, and we'll it's actually 9:30. So Bo, you and I need to do a small commercial real quick. We'll be back with you in about 1 minute. We got to do a promo for Pearson, my niece, who's on her final stretch of her scholarship run. Thank you, everybody, for all your donations and everything. And just a small plug. If you do not know, you're not able to, even though Pearson has over a 4.0 GPA, North Carolina has this thing now. They don't give scholarships without the financial basis overall. So this is the purpose of this. Her mother is very successful. Her dad is very successful. And so they think Pearson doesn't even need any money for school. So we're doing this because she genuinely does need a scholarship, because it's not just academic. And she gets to keep 100% of the money she raised. And if she wins the most amount of money raised, Delta Sigma Theta will match her with their scholarship. So we'll be right back in 1 minute, 10 seconds with Bo Crouch.
The God above made you a masterpiece. The vision is clearer, nearer. My God, today learning to lean on his power. Your perspective can be sweet when circumstances are sour. I'm saying.
You can see the vision clearer.
God's plan from the very beginning. Create the type of music that make people think twice before sinning. Pleading, Holy Father, please forgive our trespasses. Confusing things we want for things we need in life, I must have. Selfish, inconsiderate, narcissistic people. Christ died for all the world, so there is power in Jesus. Issues happen, disagreements, dissensions, distortions. This fallen flesh, we still forget sometimes that God is our portion. Forcing, others won't cut it, nor manipulation. One thing that's very destructive is self-righteous behavior. Satan, he's crafty, throwing darts like Bailey's.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And shout out again to Pearson Jones. And thank you, everyone who is donating. I'm Bo Crouch, host, creator extraordinaire of Football Talk with Bo. He's on coast to coast shows. I mean, he's everywhere. We'll give him the last probably couple of minutes of the show to plug in all his stuff so that you guys can make sure you follow him or just drop us a chat and I'll make sure you get those links later on. The 49ers, you know, in you guys' division, valiant fight, but just at the end, beat up and banged up. They are officially the face of Mexico now. They'll be headlining the 2026 Mexico City game, Bo, at Estadio Bernate. This is part of a massive international schedule for 2026, which will feature a record 9 international games across 4 different continents and 7 countries. I mean, Roger Goodell was not playing when he said he was going to be international. What are your thoughts on us going international? I mean, I remember when they started, a couple of games, and now it's just like they're everywhere and growing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's great for the league, obviously. I mean, when you look at the international games, here domestically, your viewer base was kind of set, right? They were doing a great job as far as women viewership has grown a ton over the last decade. But, you know, at some point you start to kind of saturate your own market. And so for them to reach out internationally makes a ton of sense. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. It's cool to see. They're going to Australia, which that's going to be a pretty wild thing. So there's that. Their Mexico City games are really good. Obviously, you know, going all over Europe. And so, yeah. The Mariners are, we have no championship.
Thank you, Feather Freebird. Hi, Tiger Stripes Media. Thanks for joining us. And what's up, B. Strilla? Brian Arndt on the producer, the production, all that. And hello, Donna. Okay, everybody coming in. Bo brings all the crowds. I love having Bo on. He gets the viewership up and everyone shows love. I mean, you're right, though, Bo. It's international. We've seen some teams go over there and waste their fuel money, like the Falcons. Went over there, got their behinds beat. I mean, these guys got beat at home. It's bad when you're beat international at home and away. Like, you just can't win a game. Sorry, Falcons fans. I mean, I am wearing red tonight. I said I was going to be a little kinder since they did their part and let us cash in our insurance policy to go to the playoffs. But, I mean, it is good for revenue. But I guess I just always wonder how well attended are these games that are international. I mean, we see the cameras. We see that. They look well attended. But if you are international, how's that working?
So it's because there's such a limited number, those games sell out so fast. So, you know, because there's teams or fans of every team that go to it because they're only getting one shot at it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so they'll go and they'll watch the game because it's their only opportunity to go to a live game. When I was living down in Mexico, the Mexico City game that year was San Francisco and the Cardinals. And I had the wrong day written down for being able to apply for tickets. Right. Because where I was, it was only about an hour and a half flight to Mexico City. And so it's like, that'd be amazing. And that game sold out in 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
So, international games do just fine.
Wow. I mean, this thing is going to really be global, honestly. I feel like it's going to be on every continent. I can't really promise Antarctica. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it. I don't think the Penguins care. So
It's the ice I'm concerned about. Like the game is going to take on a whole. Go ahead and send the Patriots and the Broncos down there again. They're used to it. Any of you Northeastern teams. But yeah, I don't know. Seattle, you guys get some winter up there too.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of snow. What's up, Chad? Yeah, we don't get a lot of snow in the lowland like here in Seattle. We're a little too close to the Pacific Ocean there. Our mountains and everything get hit, but we usually end up with a few snow days a year, and that's it.
Yeah, when I flew into Seattle last year for that brief encounter where we were trying to meet, but we just could not make it happen. By the time, and that layover was not as long as I thought it was going to be. I was like, yeah, bro, I'm going to be in Seattle. I'm going to be there probably for a couple of hours. They were like, yeah, no, you're going to be here for 45 minutes and you're going to be sprinting to your plane. And literally, I realized the proximity because I literally saw the coast end, like how we flew out. I saw the mountains and then it was nothing but water. And I was like, wow, I literally just flew coast to coast, like, like your show. I literally just flew off the map. It was so interesting to me because I'd flown to LA a few times, but I've never flown over the Pacific. I've never flown to Hawaii. I was going to Hawaii that time. Been down to Mexico, but you're mostly kind of like over land and water that way. But to see the end and to know, okay, that makes a lot of sense but we did have to de-ice the plane. That's the other thing. It was February last year this time. As a matter of fact, I was already back, but first week of February, they were de-icing the plane. And I'm like, I didn't even realize it was that cold here. So I guess you guys get the cold, but just not the snow.
Yeah. So like in the mornings right now, it's frosty, right? And then during the day, it gets into the, it's in the 40s. But yeah, at night, you'll dip down to, frost on the ground and stuff. But usually if we get rain coming in, it warms up just enough that we don't generally get snow. If we do get snow, it's usually this time of year. It's usually February. But this year has been kind of a weird year, so we're probably not going to get snow at all.
Yeah, I get it. All right, so let's move on. We got some big news that happened today, Bo. The Lions CEO has retired in a significant front office move. Detroit Lions president and CEO Rod Wood announced that his retirement is today. It's going to be taking effect before the 2026 season kicks off. The search for his successor, these people are scrambling already. Like last year, your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator. This year, your CEO. I mean, was this a shock for you to hear this?
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't know of any reason for him to want to resign. So I was a little bit shocked by that, but I don't know that that's necessarily going to matter a ton as far as on the field production this year, right? Moving forward, it might, but as far as this particular year, it's probably not going to impact a ton. That being said, it was a surprising move. Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I was shocked. And, anytime you hear of people just deciding, hey, I'm out. You're just like, wait a minute, what happened? Was there, we can only speculate what happened. Was there some ongoing tension or was it just time for you? Did you feel like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and hang it up. It's time for me to spend more time with my family or whatnot. All of that stuff kind of comes into play. And you just never know. Maybe it'll come out, later on what happened. But for now, we don't know. And like you said, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference. But you just never like to hear shakeups like that, like just seems so sudden. It's kind of like when you're retiring, it's kind of like planned. However, I will say from a personal perspective, I do remember, excuse me, I'm trying to adjust my little notepad here. I do remember a manager that I had, like a big manager, had been working over 2 decades, 3 decades, and the holidays were over. A lot of people decide they want to retire or move over to another job at the end of the year.
Yep.
She just literally let us know like week 3. So Claudia, if you're watching, because I know you do follow my show sometimes, I'm trying not to reveal everything, but 36 years, an uneven number and everything. She was like, I'm out. And I'm like, Claudia, I'm about to go to law school. I need you to stay here so I can still work because you're going to work my schedule. So she just literally was like, I'm out. So I guess sometimes it does happen that way. But we wish him the best. You know, we always say we wish him the best. Patrick Mahomes, AFC West, they actually have an issue with their salary cap out there. So even though we talked about salary caps being raised, Bo, some teams it's just not significant enough to make a difference. And so Patrick Mahomes, the real Gonzo, his contract is being restructured. Converted $54.45 million of his 2026 salary into a signing bonus. This move is going to instantly create $43.56 million cap space as they look to retain some new talent. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's not the first time they've restructured his deal. You know, after he signed that 10-year, $500 million contract, it's been restructured a couple of times. And so for them to do it again makes sense. I mean, it's something Tom Brady used to do, right? It's how he was able to stay on top, right? So Tom Brady was only the highest paid quarterback one time, and that'll be true for Mahomes as well as he continues to restructure this thing to keep talent around him. So, yeah, it's not a shock that that's happening. Obviously, for this next year, they're in some trouble because Mahomes is still going to be recovering from injury, and, you know, Kelsey's likely retiring. So, I mean, they're probably not a great team this year anyway. So for them to restructure and kind of free stuff up makes sense.
Yeah, you kind of segued into my next part. I was going to ask you, Kelsey. I mean, I really would not be surprised, Bo, if I just heard him not even come back. I literally have this feeling that he's going to make a big production. It's going to be one of those situations that you're going to take note and notice because, you know, he's engaged to Taylor Swift, so he's got to have one last hurrah. And it just wouldn't be the same if he just decided, okay, at the end of the season, I'm just not going to do it. I don't think that he has it in him to feel like he can run it back another season. We just didn't see the same vigor that we've seen in him over the years.
Well, and there's not a big incentive to run it back because you're not going to have Mahomes. So Mahomes isn't going to be ready to go for the beginning of the season. So, I mean, what are you running it back for? A potential miss playoff again, right? So I don't see, like, he's a free agent anyway. So it would require them wanting him to come back and him wanting to come back and finding a number that makes sense. And when you looked at him over the last 2 years, you could see that his speed had slowed down. He wasn't quite that impact player anymore. Really, the only reason you want to come back is if you want to play maybe 2 more years, honestly, to get the all-time tight end receiving, you know, yardage record. I could see him maybe wanting to do that, but he's still going to go down as one of the best tight ends to ever play. So I don't think it's really necessary for him to. But when you're looking at the way this team is and how it's going to shape up this year, I don't know that you try and come back for a year that you're pretty sure the playoffs are, you know, a wild card is probably your best shot at the playoffs.
They're definitely not reachable. Right. And I just feel like with Mahomes being out, like you said, how is he going to even get any receptions this year? Like, he wasn't getting a lot of targets anyway. He really was not. And so if you look at that, and that was the reason why. He literally has been, he hasn't just been that good with ball management anymore, honest. I guess that's the best way to put it. We saw him drop pivotal catches even when Mahomes was fine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I expect him to, you know, announce his retirement. I know he's still milling it around, but he has so many things he can do off the field. You know, obviously his New Heights podcast, it does fine. Yep. He would get whatever kind of TV deal he wants to get. So, I mean, he has all of his after playing stuff kind of already in front of him. So when you're looking at a team that doesn't have a real good shot at the playoffs, your guy is probably not going to play most of the year. I mean, I don't know. It'd be tough to want to come back for that, especially because you're competitive, right? So the last thing you want to do is come back for one more year, risk getting hurt for a season that you can kind of look at saying, yeah, I mean, a playoff spot's going to be tough.
I mean, his brother's been talking to him anyway. We saw how quick Jason got out of there, and Philadelphia was looking decent. He just was like, "Hey, it's time to go." And I remember having a couple of players on with me, Pat Williams being one, and he said, you know when to go." And you played in arena football,
Yep.
Bo. You played football. You know when to go. You just may wake up that day and be like, you know what? This is it. It's nothing wrong. I just want this to be it. While I can still recognize and that I'm, an athlete and still have my faculties about myself.
Yeah. I mean, when I stopped, I was 30, right? And that was that was a situation where I was like, I know if I keep going, my knees are just going to be toast. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, okay, I got to finish with a championship. I got to play arena ball. And it was just like, this is the time to hang it up when I'm still in good enough shape to, do all the things I want to do. So yeah, I mean, if you're able to kind of retire on your own terms, it's awesome. But there's a lot of guys that get hurt and it's just one day you just don't get to do it anymore. And so that's always the worry, right? Do you stay too long where your athleticism has waned to the point where you're not that same player and you risk getting hurt? So, I mean, could I have played a couple more years? Maybe, I probably could have. But at the same time, would I have had a bigger risk of, some bigger injuries? Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw a TikTok and yeah, Chad, I see you say you lose his mind every time they see Taylor Swift and Kelsey posters. Hilarious. I will say this. I saw something on either Instagram or TikTok. There was a wife of a NFL player, and that guy was still young and barely mobile. And she was like, nobody talks about how it is, to go from, and then, they're doing that little go from video where they show them in the stands and on the field running around, and then the after. Like he was like, it was scary. We as fans enjoy the game. It's one of our favorite pastimes. I know they say baseball is, but I like to think football is too. But it's so brutal. So it's a blessing to know that you still enjoy it from a safe perspective. You got your wins while you were there, and and still young enough to enjoy post football life. The Chicago Bears and some other news have promoted Press Taylor to their offensive coordinator. I don't know who that person is. Are you aware who Press Taylor is?
I am not. I did not see that there, so I will have to look further into that.
I saw this popped up.
I missed that one.
Yeah, I saw this. Like, what is happening? I saw this on NFL somewhere. But with AI in this day and age, Bo, you have to be really careful because so much stuff looks like it's legit. But then I just double checked it. Okay, so he's moving from his previous role as the team's passing game coordinator to fill the vacancy left by Declan Doyle, who recently joined the Ravens. Okay, so it's legit. All right, so I had to click on it. Like, what?
Anytime I see one of those, the first thing I do is I go to Shefty or Rappaport or Paracello, like one of those guys,
definitely.
Because it's like, okay, let me make sure that this isn't some troll site or because the last thing I want to do is report on something that's not accurate.
Well, it was on NFL, but I was just like, I don't know who this person is, so I still was like, okay, maybe Bo knows who it is. I mean, NFL, you would hope they don't get hacked, but you still are like, it's kind of like, even though it was real, when the Broncos game was over and they said that Bo Nix had broken his ankle, I was like, oh, I know they lying. Like, we just saw him like 5 minutes ago, and it was real. It's just like, unfortunately, that's just one of the days that we live in, that everything is wild. And yes, Chad, we're going to definitely talk about that Rest in peace, the Steelers Super Bowl champ and legend Mike Wagner. Lost him this week. Lost Reverend Jesse Jackson this week. Robert Duvall yesterday. It's just been one of those weeks. But the contribution that Mike Wagner brought to the Steelers, I like to think. So now that Mike Tomlin has stepped down, there's going to be old school Steelers, and now we're officially a new school Steelers. So Tomlin being there almost 20 years, you still had the remnants of old school Steelers. Now this is completely Gen Z new Steelers. So this is going to be a slate for them. So the contribution that Mike Wagner brought to the Steelers, that franchise, that organization, just the Super Bowl championship, just amazing to see just how they were still putting things together with him on the squad.
Yeah, no, I mean it. Back when he played, that was a different era of football for sure. I mean, that was some hard hitting, hard hitting football. But
the real no pads.
Yeah, it was. That was steel curtain time. So like it was it was pretty impressive era. They're going to be a weird team this year.
They are. And Mike was 76. I mean, we don't really, I remember looking at 76 like, okay, he lived his life. Now I'm just like, the closer I get to it, I'm like, yeah, he's still young. He was a cornerstone of that steel curtain that you talked about from the 70s, that offense. And you're right, 10 years with the Steelers from 1971 through 1980. And he actually, contributed so much. He was part of 4 of their Super Bowls in the 70s. And he was actually considered a ball hawk. He recorded 36 career interceptions, including a leading and standing 1973 record that has not been broken as of yet, 8. He famously recorded the interception in both Super Bowl, I guess that's 9 against Fran Tarkenton, and then Super Bowl 10 against Roger Staubach. So everybody knows who he is. 2-time Pro Bowler, 1975, the year I was born. Kudos. And 1976. And he was definitely a member of the Steelers Hall of Honor. So they said he actually had been battling pancreatic cancer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, pancreatic.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, pancreatic cancer. But he clearly fought it very valiantly to be the age that he was and to still try to, put up a fight. All right, let's talk about some free agency, Bo, as this time runs by us so fast. We're going to try to squeeze it in with maybe a minute or two post. I hope you don't just zoom out on me. I'm like, Bo, left me. He's like, yeah, you said 10 o'clock, ma'am. Of course. What'd you say, Bo?
I said, and I'm out. And just.
And I'm out. The New England Patriots promoted Zach Kirk to their defensive coordinator. Veteran wideout Robert Woods has signed a 1-day contract with the Rams yesterday to officially retire after 13 seasons. And that leads us into our free agency. Now, the franchise tag window is officially open. It will be closing here shortly, March 3rd. But analysts are actually closely watching several veterans who may be released. And we talked about one of them earlier for cap savings purposes before the free agency. One that everybody is just like kind of shocked about, besides Kenneth Walker, honestly. And I don't know if they're shocked or they're just like kind of resolving. You know how something just goes to it resolve, like we just have to do it, like it's just the best thing. Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons, they have not banked on who their quarterback is starting now that they've hired Kevin Stefanski. But he is up for that big cut after backing up Michael Penix Jr. They're expecting him to come back beginning of the season. And he's backing him up for much of 2025. He's widely expected to be finally released to free up space in Atlanta, but a lot of that money was guaranteed, Bo. How did they do this?
So most of his guaranteed money's done. So this is the 3rd year of his contract, and so only $10 million of it was guaranteed for this year anyway. So it's actually pretty easy for them to move on from Cousins. So not a huge shock to see him go. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Vikings kick the tires on that because J.J. McCarthy has not looked like that guy.
Yeah, he's not. And after what happened with Sam Darnold, they don't want to, roll the dice any further. And so, Mister, you like that, maybe back in Minnesota sooner than we think. Another person of not really stellar numbers as of last season, Alvin Kamara of the New Orleans Saints. His name is out there, career low production, like I said. He's a top candidate to be released post June 1st, though. So the cut designation, they think they're going to release him. Not necessarily trade him, just like, you know what, Alvin, you can go back to Atlanta now, your home city. Have fun eating at Papa Do's with all your friends because he's put up some videos of that. We are done. I mean, does Alvin Kamara land somewhere else, Bo?
No, I mean, he probably, if he wants to keep playing, he probably does. The post June makes sense because then they can split his contract over 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. The Saints need a lot of stuff. And so they don't really need to tie their money up in an older back. Yeah, I mean, they're in full on rebuild mode. So it would not shock me to see Kamara go. Yeah, I expect them to release the rights of Derek Carr if he wants to come back as well.
I heard that. But how do you come back when he basically went to some church in Las Vegas and just bashed them and was like, yeah, they did this and I was hurt and no one knew it. It was just a lot of bad blood. I mean, sometimes we see that be the end all for a player's career.
I mean, but we watched it be exactly that for Baker, right? Like he played poorly that last year with the Browns, and it was largely because he was hurt. He ends up having to go to a couple of places to prove that he can play, and then he's played great in Tampa. So I mean, wherever Carr goes, it will be on a prove it deal because he's overcoming that shoulder injury. But if he can come in and play well, he could resurrect his career because it's not like he was a bad quarterback. I mean, you think of his time with the Raiders, he had great numbers. He just happened to have a team that played absolutely no defense. Now he's not one of the elite talents, right? So we're not talking about him in that kind of atmosphere, but he's an above average quarterback. If you give him a good defense, you can win a lot of games. So I would imagine the Vikings will also kind of kick the tires on him because they need a competent quarterback that can move the ball. And a guy like Carr or Cousins, they can do that. And you can get either one of those guys for pretty cheap.
Yeah, you got to definitely get Carr this first year that he's been out because we know as time continues to tick, their names become less relevant unless you are, like I keep saying, Joe Flacco. So neither one of those would be a surprising addition to the Vikings. There's some other teams out there that still may give Carr a chance, even if he comes back, even if it's not the New Orleans Saints, because they banked on Tyler Shuck at the midpoint of their season and really turned their season around. Had they used him over Spencer Rattler the entire season, we probably would have been looking at a different NFC South as opposed to the three-way cluster, that it turned out to be. And I don't use those type of words, but y'all know what it is. But yeah, and of course we're on the cusp, the precipice of the scouting combine here, Bo. In Indianapolis, just a week away. Next week, as a matter of fact, February 23rd. Mock drafts are coming up. I don't really put a lot of weight on those, but there are some top prospects. Of course, Indiana's quarterback Fernando Mendoza is a big name coming out. We're looking for him. And Colorado star Travis Hunter are currently battling for the top overall spot in the most projections. Of course, this draft location, I said Travis Hunter. I don't know why. Sorry. Battling for that.
I was going to say, he's been playing.
Travis Hunter, my news about him is about his position. It's not about, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, I typed that up wrong. Travis Hunter is not going to be on both sides of the ball. Let me just give y'all the condensed version. Next season, he's going to be picked to one, and that's going to be the one. That's what I meant to say. But Fernando Mendoza, I was half asleep. This is what happens when you're doing school and trying to get your notes together for readability purposes. I was up at 6:30 this morning.
The other player you were probably trying to mention was Ty Simpson.
Tyson.
And yeah, and he will probably be the second quarterback off the board.
You know what's crazy? You can't do predictive text on everything. So when you're typing, if you do it like if this thing already has the program who you're talking about, and you don't go back and check, voila. But yeah, he's gonna go second off the board. When is Arch Manning ever coming in? I thought this was gonna be the season that we were looking out for him.
No. He's going back to college, and he should. He did not look particularly good, and although his last name is going to move him up a draft board, he didn't look good with a team that Quinn Ewers looked good with. Yeah. Right. So he needs to go back. You need to see some better numbers out of him. And, so it'll probably be next year. He's going to get overdrafted. I haven't seen the level of play that you would expect for the draft position they keep saying he's going to be. But sometimes that last name really moves you up the board.
Yep, and that was my purpose for bringing it up, because he was supposed to have been in this draft. But I'm glad you told us all about his redirection. And sometimes redirection can be a good thing. I don't know if it will be beneficial, but this just goes to show the last name is not always the big thing. Krista, thank you so much for filling in the space for me there. All right, Bo, let everybody know how to find you, because we are at the top of the hour here. You've been so gracious to co-host with me tonight. Let everybody know all your handles and how to find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so on all the socials, it's Football Talk with Bo. My YouTube channel is just at Football-Talk. And my Coast to Coast show is going to be joining my Wednesday wrap-up show on 97.3 ICU Radio. So the bulk of our shows are all going to be on the radio.
Oh, congratulations, Bo. Now, see, and that was news to me. I knew that was some stuff you had in the works. So congratulations for you on that huge jump. And congratulations to everybody, all the people that have, come on and showed support and love tonight. Bo, always great having you on. Thank you, everyone, for the likes, love, the comments, engaging. I will be on Friday with the fellas. Bo, tell us when the next time you're going to be on.
The next time I'll be on will be 7:00 tomorrow morning for our daily show, Coast to Coast. And then it's going to end up becoming 6 a.m. Starting in March. 6 a.m. East Coast time? Pacific time. Okay. So I get up at 4 a.m. every day.
Oh my God. Okay, that explains all these chats that were ready, because if I send something at 2 a.m., it gets responded to 4 a.m. your time, and you're already basically the same time. I got you. I got to be better prepared. Always great to have you on, Bo. Lots of fun. Of course, congratulations to your Seahawks, your Hawks as you call them. And you guys join Bo on all his platforms. Everybody, thanks for the likes, love. I'll see you guys in a couple of days. And good night.